Good afternoon. I'm Gerard Randall. Today is the gathering for our community leaders and residents. This is a major national election. There are also statewide and local elections of great importance that will bring significant leadership and programmatic changes to our community. You are here joining us for community meeting. What do the candidates offer as solutions to major problems such as crime, unemployment, and poor performance in our schools? How do we increase opportunities for small businesses to succeed? Let's talk to some high-profile community leaders and candidates to get their thoughts. Our first topic is bringing community leaders together.
Absolutely. I think collaboration is important, especially in this time. We have so many different viewpoints. We have our community, we have groups of people who have been here in the city for decades, and then we have young people who feel disconnected and want to have a voice. I think it's very important that we champion local leaders, especially on local issues, but we collaborate with the county and state to get things done. Because we know Milwaukee is an economic engine in this state, and a rising tide lifts all boats, and Milwaukee's no different. If we can work together, get on the same page, not only economically, but in terms of education, I know that we'll be on the right path. But time is of the essence. 2016 is now that time to make sure that we work together on many issues, because just like you said, we're losing lives. Many people are becoming more and more disengaged every day. And we have to turn this around, because Milwaukee's a great city, and it'll be great once again.
Getting community leaders together is imperative to resolve the many different issues that face our communities. You have the leaders of the legal system, the judicial system, local governments, nonprofits, the faith community. It will require joint efforts by everyone to address the issues that are important to the communities in Wisconsin.
There is no question that I think collaboration across different levels of government will allow for a more efficient, and I would argue more effective way to do things. So for example, if you're trying to do something over there and I'm trying to do something over here, it's going to take us a certain amount of time to accomplish doing whatever we do. But if we work together, we're probably going to be able to do it in less time and more efficiently. And if it's more of us doing that, then we can probably even more effectively and more efficiently work on problems. I think part of the issue is that we've been working in silos, and I think we need to work collaboratively. It's one of the huge efforts that I've been trying to do, is to have us work collaboratively on some specific solutions for the crises that exist, the public health crises and the economic wealth crises that exist in the community.
I definitely believe that if we come together, because, as the old saying, there's strength in numbers. And when you bring people together and you get them to buy in on one accord, then you see results. So I definitely believe that if we can get all of the leaders on the same page with the different issues that are occurring, then we can definitely make something positive happen in the community.
Now that we've looked at some thoughts from our community leaders about coming together, let's now take a look at some of the major topics that face our community today. First, jobs and/or Black-owned businesses.
A priority in my administration. I look forward to dedicating at least $3 million in resources to minority-owned businesses. Not only existing businesses, but young entrepreneurs or just individuals in the community who would like to bolster their business. I believe in collaboration. I believe in working together and prioritizing jobs for everyone. That includes our work challenge, that includes felons, and that includes young people too, because it's important that we lead them to our growth industries here in the city of Milwaukee.
I am all for creating your own jobs, and actually I used to own a bookstore cafe, and so my goal for the community is to bring in more businesses so that we begin to make our own way. I think that if we teach our students, because I am a teacher, so if we teach our students and we teach the community members how to gain skills, then you can create your own path. And I think that if we can bring in more businesses in the area, we can strengthen the community. So I think it's a building block effect that I think that it would have on the community in creating jobs. And if it's done through Black-owned businesses, I think that's great.
I don't know if you know, but we're the worst in the nation for the plight of minority businesses. And innovation across the board. We're not good at innovation as the state of Wisconsin. So as a state, I think we should be concerned about those things that you've identified, which is small businesses, period, but especially small businesses that are Black-owned or minority-owned businesses, because we know small businesses is where jobs are created. And if you aren't creating economic wealth by encouraging, motivating, innovation and small businesses in all your communities, especially your communities that are the most oppressed, then you won't be able to change the poverty or the situation that exists. It's the difference between giving someone a fish and teaching them to fish. Is the difference between someone getting a job and someone having their own business sometimes. And so I think promoting business is important. Promoting small businesses has been one of the cornerstones of the work that I've done, really because I come from small business owners myself. I'm a small business owner, have been myself. So my heart is definitely connected to helping small businesses, and helping to employ people is what small businesses do.
Our next topic for discussion is police shootings. Let's listen to what our panelists have to say.
People have the right, and they should be, upset with some of the treatment that they have received from the police department. Even myself, I'm running for office right now, so I look a little scruffy. But like I said, I used to work in the mayor's office and in workforce development before that, and I would wear a suit, a tie, and have a nice haircut, unlike today. But before that, I was a kid, a Black kid, growing up in Milwaukee, and I had an afro, I had dreadlocks, I had braids. I would walk outside in the summertime in a tank top, in jeans, in tennis shoes. Nothing separated me from anybody else. Nothing does separate me from anybody else. But even I have had instances, and I've never done anything wrong, say for take some gummy worms out of the store when I was like 7. But I've done nothing wrong since. And I've had instances where the police have pulled me over for no apparent reason. I have had instances where my heart raced when I saw sirens come on behind me, and I said, thank God they went past me and went to somebody else. I've had instances where the police made me sit on the curb, and when I was a teenager, searched my car. All these things have happened to me. And so when I go to this listening session and I hear so many other people who have had these negative experiences with the police department, from a son or a brother being shot, being killed, to police using crude and rude language towards them. This is a problem. And that isn't to say that there are not a number of excellent police officers. I've had experiences over the course of the last several jobs, from the mayor's office to the WIB to jobs before that, where I've worked really closely with police officers, and I know that there are a number of decent, hardworking police officers who get up every single day, put that badge on, and they are serious about protecting and serving. But it speaks volumes to poor people and working people when this department, or members thereof, who have raised their hand to protect and serve us, when they make us feel like we have to watch over our shoulder. That's an issue. And so what I believe is that the Department of Justice should give the people of this city, especially black and brown people, working people, what they asked for last night in that meeting, and that's a patterns and practices investigation of the Milwaukee Police Department.
Certainly, there are very legitimate concerns with police shooting black people around the country and in Milwaukee. And there needs to be a wholesale review and revision of police practices to assure the community that they're being protected by the police, but also to assure the community that the police are sufficiently well trained that they use other means short of shooting to control volatile situations.
Police shootings are emotional, tragic, sorry to have to say, a pattern of practice that's existed in Milwaukee. And it has to change. But it won't change if we don't change community police relationships. Community police relationships have to change, and we have to really start with our young people, as well as try to continue to work our relationships with those of us that are adults and already here and may have our own experiences that may have scarred us even, right? But I think we can do that by taking each moment, each time there's an incident, and figuring out how can we respond to it in a way that is respectful to the citizens and also respectful to the front line, hard work, risk that officers take when they go out to do what they do. But it doesn't mean because the work is hard and risky that they can't be respectful and treat their citizens humanely, that they are sworn under oath to protect and serve.
Well, we have a law enforcement community, and my goal, and it always has been, is to build a relationship with our police officers. I think that if we build a positive relationship with them on the front end, that means strengthen the communities by creating block watches so that we become the eyes and the ears of our law enforcement. So when they come into the community, we have that positive relationship with them. We may be able to reduce the police shootings because now they get to know us on a personal level. They get to understand that we're there to support them in their efforts in keeping us safe. So I think we'll have less shootings if we build that positive relationship on the front end instead of having to now cope with things on the back end.
And now, let's listen to what our panelists have to say about the increase in crime in our community.
A lot of the social ills are located on the northwest side of Milwaukee. If Milwaukee's #1 on a number of lists nationally for all the wrong reasons, and if there was an award for decades of policies put forward to concentrate negative social indicators, crime, poverty, unemployment, all in one spot, the north side of Milwaukee, we'd win a trophy for that. We've done an awesomely terrible job at locking people into these negative situations where they can't rise up out of life. I mean, as we were talking about before, there are neighborhoods on the north side of Milwaukee where, there is absolute joblessness, not even unemployment, because unemployment means that there is the opportunity for work, you just can't get the job. There is joblessness, right? And I tell folks all the time, folks have to eat, and they're going to eat. So we need to work to make sure that folks have opportunities to go and to work and to provide for themselves and their family, and to positively contribute to society. Otherwise, we're going to have situations like we've seen last year, with people participating in the underground economy, and that being their job. The streets is always going to be an option. We have to provide a better option.
The increase in crime has been a huge challenge in Milwaukee, but I think it is a part of a cyclical problem of poverty, lack of access. Dr. Leonard Wells did a report. It's been some years now when he was getting his doctorate at Cardinal Stretch. And that report that he did showed that, he did a study, it showed that when white men and black men both interviewed, they did not equally get access to the opportunity for interviews for jobs or the job offers. His report and his research showed that the white men got the job offers, even if they had a prior record and the black man did not. Even if they had similar experiences, but the white man had a prior record, he got not only the interview, but he more than often got the job offer. So there is no question that employment, access to employment, and fairness are all interconnected. And if people can't work, what happens? People take all kinds of risks. People do whatever they can, and in turn, it has a direct effect on crime. So I think we have to deal with our segregation that exists in our community in order to deal with fairness for people getting access to jobs, in order to be able to address the crime and violence issue, because I think they're all interconnected. I think we have to help people navigate to new hopes and new dreams, because the literacy level is low and people's spirits are low. People feel very hopeless. And so I really believe that with some individuals helping to connect people, that we will be able to change the crime that exists in our community.
I don't know if crime has increased, actually. There have been declines around the country and the state in certain forms of crime. Homicides, I believe, are up now in Milwaukee, but that's just one piece of the puzzle, right? That you need to make sure everyone has a place to live, has food to eat, and has a job, and they have the mental and health services that they need to address whatever may be preventing them from being productive members of the society. And so to address crime, you need to address all of those other issues. And we go back then to that concerted interdisciplinary approach where different leaders from all of the different service providers work together to provide people with the housing and food and services they need, and from that will flow a decrease in crime.
There's vigorous debate around academic achievement in our Milwaukee public schools. Our last topic is on education.
Education, some say is the, civil rights fight of this century. Some say that it's the civil rights fight of this century, and some say that we're the worst in the nation for literacy scores for children in 3rd or 4th and 8th grade. Some say that we have the worst disparities between white and black children's achievement. Some say we have some of the worst scores for math. What I would say is that when 15% of your kids can read on grade level, it's a problem. So if you can't read, you can't learn. So education is rooted in literacy, and it's rooted in access to opportunity to do something else, to have hope, to meet dreams. I'm everything that I am because of getting my education. I'm just gonna tell the truth. I barely made it out of high school. I didn't want to go to college. But my mother picked my school, my major, my counselor, my classes, my dorm room, my furniture, the car we were going in, girl, the time we were going, and the driver who was driving us. And I have to say, it took a few years for the light bulb to go off for me to realize how important education was. But when it did, it's the reason I'm sitting in front of you as the 1,000th senator. Only the 20th woman, only the 5th African-American or the 2nd African-American woman in the history of the state to be a state senator. Education gave me that. It gave me the ability to be prepared to do the things and to have options in my life. So education is so important. It's why literacy is at the root of everything I do, and it's why the Love and Faith initiative that I've been working on is so directly connected to education also.
My sister is 25 years old, and so she was born in the same time that Milwaukee decided to go out and do this experiment in education. And that experiment typically involves kids who look like me. There's black and brown kids who are put out here in these petri dishes for this educational experiment that for 25 years has not produced the results that folks have said that it would. And I think that that the program, it started with noble intentions, but over time what's happened is that people saw an opportunity to make a quick buck. And so they came into the education scene in Milwaukee. They started opening these fly-by-night schools that was not about educating kids. It wasn't about that at all. It was about making a quick buck. It was about making $1. And so I talk about voucher schools, and then you got vulture schools. And I think a lot of these schools, quite frankly, are vulture schools. And that's not to say that all of them test poorly. That's obviously not the case. The problem is that the vast majority of them do. And they say that they could educate Milwaukee kids for half the cost and make sure that the educational outcome is better than what they would get in public school. And that just has not been the case, and has not been the case for 25 years. And so I think that we've got to switch course. We've got to get back to one strong system of public education, and that's the best way forward in order to get out of the mess that we're in as far as education in this community.
Education is one of the pillars in this community, and it always has been. But with the recent cuts to public education and understanding the dynamic here in the city, we have choice education, charter education, then public education. But we have a lot of children who are struggling and failing. So for me, it's important that we identify the stars. Who are our star teachers in public schools? Who are our star administrators and star principals in the choice and charter school sector? Let's bring them together. But just as importantly, let's reward great work. Let's reward great work for students in early childhood education and empower them so no matter what neighborhood they come from or that they live in, they feel connected. And let's also connect vocational trades, because again, we know Milwaukee is moving towards a renaissance, whether it be in construction, development, energy innovation, or global water. We have to understand education is foundational, and that's a priority of my administration.
Sadly, that's all the time we have today. On behalf of all here at Community Meeting, I'd like to thank our panelists and thank you for joining us. Enjoy your week.